Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. In today's video I was going to chat to you about 20 things that I learned in my 20s. So I am 30, nearly 31, which is, I don't know, scary. And yeah, I've been thinking about making a video like this and writing a blog post about this for quite a while. My 20s were definitely not the easiest decade. I had quite a lot of time in hospital, I was sectioned, I went through a whole host of tests and everything to try and get a diagnosis, and just generally haven't been very well. I went to numerous different universities trying to get a degree. So yeah, it was definitely a tough year, but there were also good things that came out of it. And I just wanted to talk to you about some of those things that I've learned in that decade of being 20. Some of them are more serious, others are a bit more fun and silly. And yeah, I just thought I would chat to you about what I've learned and try and pass on a little bit of what I've learned to you. And also I would be really interested to hear what you've learned. If you've been through your 20s or your teens or your 30s or whatever age you're at, what have you learned so far that you would want to share with other people? So as I said, I have got 20 things, so I'm going to try and rattle through it reasonably quickly, otherwise we will be here all day. And yeah, let's get started. So number one, your dreams might not work out how you plan them, but that's not always a bad thing. This is definitely something that I have learned, especially in the latter part of my 20s. I guess when I was younger and even in like my teens, early 20s, I had quite set views about how I wanted my life to turn out. I knew that I wanted to be a doctor, I knew that I wanted to get married, I wanted to have children. I had all these thoughts of, like, you know, what I think what life would be like by a certain age, and let's just say none of that has worked out, and I have found that quite difficult at times. I've got very upset about it. I struggled for a long time with the fact that I wasn't going to be able to be a doctor, and yeah, it was just having all your dreams kind of come crashing down around you is horrible, and it's really difficult to see, especially when everything just feels so out of your control because of health or whatever else is going on. But I would say that I've kind of learned that that's not always a bad thing, that things kind of aren't happening as you imagine them to. Obviously, you know, you have to get your head around it, and you still have to like grieve for the things that you feel like you've lost, but just because things haven't kind of gone a certain way doesn't mean that, you know, it's the end of the world. I have changed a lot of my like goals and dreams and ideas of where my life is going, and actually I feel like some of the stuff that's come out of those difficult situations is probably better than what things would have been like if I hadn't been through them. So, you know, I probably would never have discovered like blogging and YouTube and stuff if I'd gone down the road that I wanted to go down. Just lots of things, I guess, that have happened wouldn't have happened if I had gone down that road that I imagined. And I think as I've got older, I am trying to look at things in a more positive way and not see, you know, my dreams not working out as a failure or the end of the world, but just that things are going down a different path, and it doesn't make it any, you know, less important or less, you know, good to me. It just means that it is a different path and it's a different way for my life to go. It doesn't mean it's the wrong way, it's just something different. So yeah, that is definitely something I've learned in my 20s, and I think I'm still learning, because you're always going to find, you know, it difficult when things don't go the way you want them to, but just trying to be a little bit more open-minded and, you know, wait and see where things are going and try and make the best of the situation. Number two is not all friendships will last forever, and this is definitely something that has taken me a while to get my head around. And again, it isn't necessarily an easy thing when a friendship sort of breaks up or fizzles out. You're probably still going to feel sad, you're going to grieve for that friendship. But when I went into my 20s, I guess I thought that I would be friends with everybody like forever, you know, all the people that I was friends with, that would carry on. I thought that I could just, you know, anyone that I met I could be friends with. And I guess as I've gone through my 20s, I've realised that you're not going to be friends with everybody, and the friendships you have aren't necessarily going to carry on. I would say I've only got a handful of people that I have been friends with since I was very young that I would still count as friends now, and I guess that I've learnt that that's okay. You know, sometimes I think friendships, there's different kinds of friendships. Some of them are like long-term friendships for your whole life. Others come about because of a situation you're in, whether that's at school or at uni or at a group or whatever it is. And I think that some friendships do serve a purpose. So, you know, you might be in a situation and you're friends with somebody and you're friends with them for that purpose, for that period of time, and then after that period of time finishes, it just kind of fizzles out because that friendship was meant to be for a certain period of time, whereas someone else you might be friends with and that friendship is set to last for a lifetime. And I think I'm kind of becoming more okay with that. I always saw it as a failure on my part if a friendship broke up or fizzled out, and I think now I'm kind of seeing that you just can't continue to be friends with every single person you meet, because you know, there's only so much time and energy that you have in your life, and you just can't split it between that many people. So yeah, I guess I'm seeing it as not so much my fault anymore, and I'm just making the most of friendships when they're there. If they carry on, then fantastic. If they don't, then I appreciate that friendship for what it was and just move on, I guess. And you know, obviously I'm not saying not to put any effort into your friendships, because obviously I think that's important, but just not to feel, you know, too sad or feel too guilty about when things kind of do fizzle out, because I think sometimes that's just how life is. Number 3, you don't have to follow the same time scale as your friends. This is something that I am still learning, I think I would say. I have always found it quite difficult, especially with being ill, watching my friends kind of do life in the order that I kind of felt like it should be done. So, you know, you go to uni, you like graduate from uni, you have a boyfriend, you get married, you have children, have a house, all this kind of stuff. And I have found it quite difficult, the fact that my life hasn't gone that way, or that I've taken longer to do some things than my friends have. And I guess I'm starting to learn now that, you know, not everybody follows the same time scale. People do things at different times. Some people have children before they get married. Some people don't get married. Some people spend a lot of time on their career. Some people, you know, focus on being a wife and a mother, and that's what they want to do. And I think as you get older, you kind of start to understand that more. Certainly when you're in school and like that first little bit after school, everyone does seem to be doing the same thing, and it can feel very difficult not to be doing that same thing. But now I look at my friends and everybody is so different. Oh, excuse me. And yeah, I think I am learning now that I just have to go at my pace. I have to do what's right for me, and just because one of my friends is doing something doesn't mean that I need to be doing it in exactly the same way. Yes, there are still things that I wish had happened or would happen soon, but I think I'm just focusing more on my time scale and following my path, rather than trying to compare myself to what everybody else is doing, because that just makes me feel worse. Number 4, I am stronger than I realise. And this takes a bit of admitting, I think, because I feel like I'm blowing my own trumpet by saying that. But I look back on my 20s and I look back at all the things that I have been through, whether that's, you know, like problems with my health, being sectioned, being very mentally unwell, I don't know, all like different situations and stuff that I've had to go through, and at the time I have felt anything but strong. But I look back at it now and I kind of think, well, I got through those times. Yes, it wasn't easy. Yes, I have done some silly things, and I have put people that I love through really difficult times, but I have made it through. I reached 30 and I'm still here and I'm still fighting, and yeah, I guess that I'm just starting to acknowledge that actually I am quite a strong person. You know, I do keep fighting even when things get really, really difficult and I'm wanting to give up. I have kept fighting, and I think looking at that and reminding myself of that helps me to continue to keep going. Like if I start going through a difficult period, I try and remind myself, you know, I've been through hard times before, and somehow, whether, you know, I've reached out for help, I've got support from people, I have found some sort of inner strength, and somehow I have got through it. And if I've done it once, I can do it again. So yeah, I think I'm starting to realise now that, you know, I am quite strong, and that it's important that I remember that. Number 5, family are important. I think I have always known this. I've always been quite a family person, but over my 20s, as I said, I have been through a lot of tricky stuff, and I do not know where I would be if my family, like if I didn't have my family. They have got me through so much, whether it's like the really difficult times and like practical support of actually getting through those times, visiting me in hospital, being up at all hours of the night, helping me cope. When I've been really physically unwell, they've helped me in so many different ways, but also the little things, making me laugh, just being there to talk and to listen. And I just realise more and more as I get older how important my family are. And I think as you get older, you do realise that more, because you start to lose people. I've lost grandparents, and you just realise how important those family members are to you. And I could not be here without them. I love spending time with them. I feel very lucky that I live close to all my family, so I get to see them a lot. And seeing my family grow and have like a nephew and a niece now just makes me feel really, really happy. And I guess when I'm going into my 30s, I just want to make sure that I treasure those relationships and treasure that family even more than I already do, because I just have realised how vital they are to me. Number 6, it is okay to ask for help. I think I went into my 20s finding it very difficult to admit that I was struggling, that I needed some help. And as time has gone on, I have realised that actually it's all right to say that I need help. It's okay to admit that you're struggling, or to admit that you have a weakness. You know, especially with my mental health, I have really had to put my hands up and just say, look, I'm not coping, I need some help. And a lot of the time I have felt like I have been too weak, or that I've been a burden on people, or that, I don't know, I'm just seen as like not coping. And actually that's not such a bad thing. You know, being able to admit that you're struggling and that you need somebody else's help is actually okay. And I feel a lot more like equipped to do that, and I feel a lot better about doing that now. And knowing that, you know, you can't necessarily get through everything in life on your own, and that there are people there generally that want to help you. So it's important to reach out and get that help and say, you know, I just need a bit of help getting through this period in time. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a bad person for asking for help. You know, everybody needs help at some point in their life. And I think I've learned over the last 10 years that actually it's better to ask for help and to start getting things better and getting through it, rather than to just keep drowning until you get to a point where things are so bad that you don't know how to get back out of them again. Number 7, you will make mistakes, and that is okay. This is definitely something I've learned, and I'm sure I will continue to learn it, because we all make mistakes. And over my 20s, I have made some pretty big mistakes, I would say. I've done very silly things. I have, taken risks that I shouldn't have done. Because of like my mental health, I have made massive mistakes and done things that I look back on now and think, oh gosh, what did I do? Why did I do that? Why was I like that? And for a long time I felt very guilty about making those mistakes, and I felt embarrassed about those mistakes. And I guess I'm starting to learn, or have started to learn now, that actually everybody makes mistakes. Some are bigger than others, but we are human, we're not perfect, and the way we learn is by making those mistakes. And you know, but whatever those mistakes are, whether it's silly little ones or huge ones, you learn from them. And I guess I try really hard now not to feel guilty about the mistakes that I've made, and to actually use them as a learning experience. You know, I am still, you know, some of them I am still very sorry for, you know, if they've hurt people, or if I've said things that I shouldn't have said, or, you know, whatever it is. I'm not kind of saying that those mistakes don't matter, because, you know, they do, but I think they're just an opportunity to learn. It just shows that you're human, you know, there's nothing bad about you because you've made a mistake. It's just life. And I think I'm kind of cutting myself a bit of slack now and not beating myself up for all those mistakes that I've made. And I just want to keep kind of trying to do that. I'm sure I will still make mistakes and I'll still feel guilty about it, but over time I'm hoping that I will be able to see that, you know, it's not like I did it on purpose, it's not that I did it maliciously, it's just part of being human, and I will try my best to learn from it. Number 8, trust your gut instinct. This is something that I have definitely learned over the last 10 years plus. And I guess I can relate it most to my health. So ever since I started having problems with my health, I was convinced that there was something physically wrong with me. And I saw various doctors, got so many like opinions, I got diagnoses that I didn't feel were right, and I kept fighting because in my gut, I knew that what I was being told wasn't right. I was being told that my symptoms were in my head, that it was all down to a mental illness, and I don't know, I just had this gut instinct that there was something going on that they weren't picking up on. And however many years later, that turned out to be correct. They had missed the diagnosis, and so I guess that was my confirmation that my gut instinct is right. And if you believe something to be true, then I honestly believe that you need to fight for that, because I don't know, I think there is something to be said for gut instinct. And you know, 9 times out of 10 my gut instinct has been correct, and it's not easy to fight when everyone else is coming against you. But if you've got that gut feeling that something isn't right, or that you believe something is, you know, something different, I have just learnt to trust that instinct and to keep fighting for it, to keep getting people to listen to me until I get an answer that feels right. And certainly when I went into my 20s, I didn't understand that. I was very much like, other people were telling me what they thought, and I was like, oh okay, it must be that, fine. And I think just over my 20s I've learned to trust that gut instinct more, and to learn that actually I know my body, I know who I am, and sometimes, you know, I know what's right for me when other people maybe don't. So I would always say, listen to your gut instinct and go with it. Number 9, it doesn't usually matter what other people think. In my teens, I was so worried about fitting in, about what everyone thought of me. I was quite shy in school because I didn't want to speak up. I didn't want to draw attention to myself. I didn't want to stick out or look different. And through my 20s, I have, you start to like not bother about that so much. I don't mind being different. I don't mind doing stuff that people don't necessarily like or agree with. I have said it doesn't usually matter, because I think in some situations obviously it does matter what people think, and you don't want to go offending people or, you know, doing things that are going to hurt other people. But if you're not harming anybody else, then you know, just go for it. You only get one life, and if you want to wear that funky outfit that everyone else thinks looks ridiculous, go for it. You know, if it makes you feel good, I think it doesn't matter. And these days, I wouldn't say that I don't care about what other people think at all, because I still do. And I think, I don't know, I'm only human. I still worry about what people think of me, but I'm much more like secure in my own mind of what I like, of what I dislike, of who I am, and like I'm alright with that. If someone doesn't like me or doesn't agree with something that I'm doing, then that's fine. I'm not gonna, you know, I can't please everybody. So yeah, I think I am just much more secure now, and I don't mind what other people think of me. Number 10, things do not always happen on your first try. Oh my goodness, do I know this? And I guess like the second part to this would be, if it's something you want, keep on trying. My biggest example would be with university. So I first went to university when I was about 19, 20, I think. That didn't work out, left, tried it again a bit later with a different type of university. That didn't work out either. And you get to a point where you're just like, do I just give up? Like, this isn't working. And with university, I always knew that I wanted to get a degree. There wasn't any pressure from anybody else. It was just something that I knew that I would like to do. And so I kept trying. I kept trying to find different ways to do it. And eventually, last year, I graduated from uni with a first. And that just has shown me that, yeah, things don't always happen on the first go. Sometimes you have to adapt and change things for them to work. But if it's something you really want, just don't give up, because so many people said to me, like, why are you bothering with uni? It's making your health worse. I don't understand, like, what's the point of it? And for me, it was something that I wanted to do. That was the point. And so I kept trying, and I kept listening to what was going wrong and trying to find ways around that. And eventually it worked. I'm not saying that will happen with everything, but you know, I think that's just shown me like not to give up and to keep trying if there's something that I really want. Number 11, I have a voice and it is okay to use it. I remember when I was at school, and honestly I would not even put my hand up. I was so scared and anxious about speaking out in front of other people. I was worried about saying the wrong thing. I was worried about getting the answer wrong, about what other people would say about me. And things have changed so much in the last 10 years. And it's been a very gradual process, I think. But certainly like when I went to uni, like the last time, I was always the one that would be putting my hand up. I'd be asking questions. I'd be speaking out in class. And if I look back now and compare that to when I was at school, it's almost like two different people. But I just think that I have realised that I do have a voice, and that what I say, you know, is important. Not necessarily all of the time, depending on what I'm talking about, but you know, I have just as much right to speak as anybody else. And I have a lot of experiences in different things, you know, especially health and mental health and things like that. And that actually it's okay for me to speak out and talk about them. I mean, look, I'm sitting making YouTube videos now and putting them out, you know, on the internet for anybody to see, and I would never have done that back in school. But you know, there's things that I'm passionate about, there's things that I want to talk about, I want to bring about change, I want to make life better for people with mental health problems, physical problems, disabilities, and sometimes I just want to talk about makeup or clothes or beauty or, you know, whatever, and that's okay too. And yeah, I think I have learned, and I'm just learning that it's okay to speak and to be heard and to talk about the things that I am passionate about. And yeah, I hope that I will keep on doing it for many years to come. Number 12, life is precious. And I know this is going to be quite a serious one, I guess, but it's definitely something that I have learned. Yeah, more in my 20s than any other time, because As I said, I've lost like 3 grandparents, and you start to realise that, you know, people aren't immortal. You know, people do die, and you know, you start to realise that, hang on, I've only got like so much time in life to make the most of, and you start thinking about it that way. I've also lost friends very young. I've lost 3 friends now, all around my age or younger, and it just makes you realise that you just don't know what is around the corner. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, and you know, most of those friends, or some of those friends probably didn't know that they were only going to live up to a certain time, and they weren't going to grow old, and they weren't going to do all the things that they perhaps hoped to do. And it just makes you realise that as hard as life can be, and as crappy as getting old can feel sometimes, actually it's a massive gift, and we need to make the most of it. And that is what I try to do. It's difficult. Sometimes you get days when you just want to sleep and you don't want to do anything, and you know, that's fine. But I guess I am just realising more and more how precious life is, how much I just want to spend my time doing things that make me happy with people that I love. And yeah, I guess I just want to make the most of the life that I've got, and be thankful for what I'm given every day, because I know not everybody gets that opportunity to like continue to get older. Number 13, some of the best things come out of the worst situations. Again, like as I said, with going through lots of different things in my 20s, there have been some pretty horrific situations, to be honest, and at the time you just think, what is going on? Why am I going through this? You can't see any kind of light at the end of the tunnel. But something, I don't know, good things seem to come out of those bad things. So, you know, through being ill, I've met so many amazing people, so many lovely friends who I would never have met if I hadn't been ill, if I hadn't been in hospital, if I hadn't been sectioned. I just never would have met these people. And I don't, you know, I'm not saying that everything happens for a reason, because I'm not sure. But, you know, just because those situations were awful, there were also chinks of light in that darkness, and some good has come out of those. And some of the best friendships that I've made have come out of hard situations. So although those times were really, really difficult, I'm grateful for those times, for the things that they have given me. So now I think if I am going through a really difficult time, I will try my best to look for any good in that situation, and not necessarily at the time, because it can be quite difficult when you're going through it. But even when you look back, you can then see, actually, like, I met that person, or this person like really supported me, or I got closer to this person, or, you know, being ill gave me a chance to like spend some time colouring, which I never got to do, and things like that. So I think I do try now to look for the good in every situation, and to appreciate the little things that have come out of it. Number 14, self-care is important. I have always struggled with self-care. I've always felt like, I don't know, I'm being indulgent, or that I don't deserve to look after myself or to do nice things for myself. And I think as the years have gone on, I have started to realise more and more that actually it's pretty vital to life. So, you know, when I don't know, like I go for massages, or I go swimming and things like that, and yeah, they can look like pretty indulgent things from the outside, but they are the things that kind of keep me going. They help me with my pain. They give me, I don't know, a bit of like a pep up kind of thing, so that I can then go out and do other stuff. So, you know, I like the whole analogy of, like, I think it's like the empty teapot or something like that, and basically it says, You know, you can't pour from an empty teapot. You need to pour stuff into it first to then be able to pour stuff out of it. And that's the way I kind of view self-care now. I need to look after myself to then be able to look after and help other people, because if I am not looking after myself, I'm in no position to be helping other people. So, you know, I'm not gonna say I don't struggle with it, because I still do, and I still need to kind of consciously make that time for myself, but I understand it a lot more now, and I understand why it's important. So I find myself actively trying to, you know, take care of myself a bit more and do those things that make me feel good. Number 15, being normal is overrated. I mean, I would not class myself as normal these days, or ever, to be honest. Whatever normal is. I guess it's like one of the other ones, you know, when I was younger, I always wanted to be normal. I wanted to fit in, I wanted to blend into the crowds, I didn't want to stand out. And now, actually, I don't really care if people think I'm normal or not. And yeah, you know, I don't think there's any such thing as normal anyway, but I don't mind standing out. I don't mind looking different or dressing in a way that maybe isn't in keeping with the fashion, or just, I don't mind being a bit crazy, a bit goofy, a bit silly, because being normal's boring. Let's face it, who wants to be normal? So yeah, I am quite happy to just be me and to be different to everybody else. Number 16, it's okay to admit you've made the wrong decision. And again, I would apply this mainly to like uni, but it can apply to so many other things. When I went to uni the first time and I realised it wasn't working, that it wasn't for me, I found it so hard to admit that I had chosen the wrong thing and to say, look, I've made the wrong choice, this isn't right for me, because I felt like I was letting everybody else down. I felt silly, I felt like I'd failed. And I guess over the years I've realised that actually you can't make the right choices all the time. You know, that's how you learn and develop. You make choices, you realise that actually it didn't work, or that you didn't like how it turned out, so you then choose a different way to go, and that hopefully makes you better. And so now I think I feel more able to hold my hands up and say, like, oops, this isn't right for me, I need to change it, let's try something else. And yeah, it's still going to be hard. It's still, you know, if you've made a big decision like going to uni or something, it is going to be hard to say, I'm not happy with this, I want to move on, I don't like this. But I think it's really important to kind of know your own mind and to know when something isn't right, and to be able to actually say that it isn't right, because there's no point in carrying on with something that is making you miserable. You might as well just hold your hands up now. I mean, I'm not saying like give in early or anything like that, or don't try, but I'm saying if you really know something is not right, it's much better to say that and to try something else than to live feeling miserable for way too long. Number 17, you will never please everybody. I am very much a people pleaser. I want to make everybody happy. I want to say yes to everybody, to do the right thing by everybody. And I think in my 20s I've just learned that that is not possible. You are never going to make everybody happy. Whatever you do, there's going to be somebody out there that doesn't agree with it, that isn't happy, that doesn't like what you've done. And so you just spend all your energy trying to please all these people, and it's just like a never-ending task that you're never going to complete. So these days I worry about the people that matter to me and making sure that they are happy, but also just, you know, worrying about myself, and am I happy with the choices that I'm making? Am I happy with how I'm living my life? And as long as I'm happy with it and it's not hurting anybody else, and I've got the support of the people around me, then that's all I need, really. And if someone out there doesn't like the fact that, I don't know, the outfit I'm wearing, or the choice that I've made to go to uni, or a choice I've made in my like healthcare, if they aren't happy about it, then it just doesn't matter. Number 18, Disney is not just for kids. And this is a bit of a silly one, but I wanted to include it because I have always really loved Disney. Ever since I was really little, I've been really into Disney, and that hasn't changed as I've got older. And kind of when I was in my like early 20s and I would like talk about Disney and things like that, you'd get a lot of comments from people being like, what are you, a kid? You know, Disney's for children. People were quite judgmental about it, and I've just learned as I've got older that Disney is for everybody, especially like with going to Disneyland Paris last year, making my videos, watching other people's Disney videos. It's just made me realise that if you want to like Disney, then like Disney. And I guess the same goes for anything. Like, you know, if you want to embrace your inner child, whatever way that is, then just go for it. If you get joy from something, like I get joy from Disney, then carry on. You're not hurting anybody else. It's, you know, Disney was made for everybody. It wasn't just made for children. You go to like Disneyland, I look at Disney videos and the majority of people there are probably adults. Yes, children get taken, but they get taken by adults. And, you know, I think we had more fun at Disney as adults than we would have done if we were children. There's just so much that Disney can give, and I love watching all the films. I'm always like really excited when new ones come out. I collect the like limited edition DVDs. I've got lots of little like Sims and stuff, and it just makes me happy. And if anyone's got a problem with the fact that I feel happy about Disney, then I don't mind. I really don't mind. So yeah, if you want to love Disney, or if you want to love Pokemon, or if you want to love Fireman Sam or anything else, then just go for it. It really doesn't matter. Number 19, if something makes you unhappy, then change it. Now obviously this can't apply to everything. There are certain things that you can't change, but overall, most of the time there are changes that you can make. So for example, going to university, went to uni, was really unhappy, wasn't very well physically, and so I made the decision to come out of that situation and do something different. And yeah, I've had that a lot over the years, because you kind of feel like you should be doing certain things, or, you know, living up to other people's expectations, when actually those things are just making you feel miserable. And I think I have just learned as I've got older that there's no point in being miserable. As I said, like in one of my previous points, life is short and life is precious, and why would you waste it doing things that are making you unhappy, that are causing you sadness? You know, if you're able to change something, then go for it and change it and find something that makes you feel happy. Obviously, you know, as long as it's not going to be hurting anybody else, it just doesn't matter. And I've definitely learned that. I mean, it is hard to come out of a situation sometimes where you feel like it's what other people think you should be doing, or what other people might want for you. But at the end of the day, it's your life, and you need to do the things that are going to make you happy, because the last thing you want is to be looking back in however many years' time and thinking, God, I spent so many years doing whatever this, like doing this job, or going, I don't know, doing this university course, and all that time I was unhappy. I'd much rather look back now and think, okay, so maybe I wasted, I don't know, 3 or 4 months at university, but I made a decision to change that. And actually I don't feel like I did waste that time, because without going to university and having that bad experience, I wouldn't have like got to where I was today. I wouldn't have known what I wanted. I wouldn't have been able to grow and learn from it. So yeah, if you can change something that is making you unhappy, I would say go for it. And my last point, number 20, is that it's okay to feel scared about turning 30. I was pretty anxious about the thought of turning 30, and I mean I still am. I'm nearly 31 and I still feel like just overwhelmed by the whole thought of being 30, and I think I have learned that that is quite normal with a lot of people that I've spoken to. You know, any kind of milestone can bring with it a lot of different feelings, some kind of good feelings, some bad feelings. And I think because of how my life has been so far, the thought of turning 30 really scared me, because I didn't feel like I was in the place that I wanted to be. I felt like I had missed a lot of my 20s being ill and stuff, and I just feel like time's like running away from me. But you know, it's all right to feel a bit anxious and a bit scared and a bit sad, and to grieve for things that you haven't got or that haven't happened. And I think it's kind of important, anyway, I've learned that it's important to acknowledge those feelings and to kind of feel okay with those feelings, and to know that you are able, you know, you don't have to be really excited or happy about turning 30 or 40 or whatever it is. You know, acknowledge the fact that actually it's a massive step, and if you have like anxieties about that, then that's okay. Talk to people about them. If there's things that you can do, or like be proactive to kind of make it better or easier, then think about how you can do those. But yeah, you definitely don't have to be happy about any kind of milestone if that's not how you're feeling. I think I had mixed feelings about turning 30. I was quite excited about like having a party and going to Disneyland, and kind of a bit excited about just going into a new decade, because my 20s had been pretty crappy and I kind of saw it as a bit of a new start. So yeah, I don't know, I guess I just embraced all of those different feelings and kind of told myself, well, you know, it's all right to feel confused and scared and weird and all sorts of things about turning 30. I mean, I then had to kind of tell myself that actually nothing I could do would stop it happening. So although I felt all those things, I actually then worked out that I'm just going to have to embrace it, because it's going to happen whether I like it or not. But you know, you feel how you want to feel, and nothing, you know, nobody should be telling you that how you're feeling is wrong. And I think once I kind of worked that out, it made turning 30 easier. I tried to focus on the nice things about it. I worked through the stuff that I was feeling anxious or worried about, and I feel a little bit less anxious and overwhelmed about the fact that I'm 30 now. So yeah, I guess, you know, I've just learned that you've just got to accept how you feel and roll with it, I think. So those were the 20 things that I learned when I was 20, or in my 20s, sorry. Obviously I probably learned other stuff that I haven't talked about, but those were just like some of the bigger things I think that I picked up on in my 20s. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing what I learned in my 20s. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys learned in your 20s, or if you're not 30 yet, what you've learned in your teens, or whatever age bracket you want to tell me. Just tell me some of the life lessons that you have learned. If you would like to see more videos from me, please do give me a like and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to press the bell as well, and you'll be notified when I upload a video, so you won't miss anything. And yeah, leave me a comment and let me know if there's any other videos you'd like to see me do. I am always open to suggestions and ideas, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye!